citizen, yeah, yeah. Kingdom citizen of Wisconsin. Kingdom citizen, yeah, yeah. Kingdom citizen. Blessings, 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 everyone. Welcome to Kingdom Citizens of Wisconsin. And I am your host, Dr. David King. And I am here and we are back. We're back. I think, how should I say this? We took a maternity leave from Kingdom Citizen of Wisconsin. My co-host had a baby, and we're going to bring her up, and she's going to talk with us. And right now, I'm just doing a couple of sharing with some people real quick, and then we're going to really get started on some stuff tonight. And you guys, listen, I am excited about what we're about to do here on Kingdom Citizens of Wisconsin. This show is about God. It is about our constitutional rights. It is about government, local government. It's about doing things the way God want them done. And not only that, it's about getting us to understand our roles as individuals in this city, in this country, in this state, that we represent God and we represent God's well. And so I'm excited about this. Let me bring on my co-hosts. One of them, the other one, she didn't know we was doing it. And so we're trying to find her wherever she might be tonight. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls around the world, we have the constitutional queen, the mama bear. Fight for her children, fight for God, fight for the country, and she will educate you on things that you don't even know. So with further ado, let me introduce to you, AKA Constitutional Queen, AKA Mama Bear. Don't touch my children. Sarah.
Hello.
AKA I will break your neck. You mess with my children.
I have threatened that in the past. Yes. I did just have a recent interesting confrontation with our local public library. So that was fun.
Uh-oh. You know you gotta tell. So
okay. So there was a princess tea given hosted by the library and given by the county court or the city court. You know, they have like the pageants and stuff like that. And so the princesses of Black River Falls and their court were coming to read books for a princess tea party. And they said it was a royal tea party, so I think she did that deliberately. But I wasn't actually planning on bringing my kids to it because I had the county caucus that we were going to, so I was going to be gone and I wouldn't be able to bring her there and pick her up. But a friend of mine who is a homeschooling mom and a very godly woman said, "Hey, my daughter's going. I figured I could bring them both." And I said, "Yeah, sure, that's fine. That works." And so I get home from my county caucus and my little princess is like, she's glowing. She just had such a great time. And she had got this pretty little tiara. And I mean, she was in her element. And so she's telling us all about all of the stuff she did and how she made new friends and everything. And in the middle of all that conversation, I get a text message from another friend of mine whose daughter had attended. And this is, keep in mind, this is between 5 and 10 years old. And she texts me and she says, "So can I talk to you? Because I've got some issues with our library." And she did not know that I was on the library board or anything like that. So she calls and I start asking her questions, and she's like, "So my daughter was at one of the tables that was reading books, and she got to listen to a book called My Princess Boy."
What?
Yeah. She said there were no boys at this tea party. It was all girls. And so was the court. The court was all girls. And for some reason, this book ended up in the pile of princess books that the girls got to pick from. And so they were assigned different tables with the different princesses. And they had a big table full of a bunch of princess book displayed, and they could pick one and bring it to their table, and the princesses would read it. So my daughter, fortunately, according to her, she did not know that was a book because she was at a different table. I was very grateful because I probably would have been a little bit more on fire, but I was still on fire for other people's daughters. And most of these events are attended by homeschool moms or MOPS moms, so like a Judeo-Christian background, very much conservative. There are a few other moms in the community who show up for these things, but I mean, most of the events that take place at the library are during the day when the kids are in school. And so so this was on a Saturday, but it was still, mostly attended by conservative children of conservative moms. So we're talking about this, and she says, "Oh, and by the way, the invitation from the library said kids only, and the only was highlighted. And when we got there, they wouldn't let the parents in." Now, I did not know this because I didn't even read I noticed there was a flyer up for a royal tea party. And because I wasn't planning on bringing her, I didn't even think to read it. So I didn't read further down and see all of the small print. But anyway, she noticed this, and she said, so it was a little bit different because the children's librarian has never done a kids only party before. She's always allowed parents to be involved. But at the same time, the kids librarian is very liberal. You can tell by how she talks, by the books that she displays. And so, we've heard about all of the library, the conservative mom groups that go out and like try to get books banned and stuff. I'm like, okay, let's take this from a different way. We're going to treat this with a respectful position. We're going to say, we're not asking to ban books. What we are asking is that you have discernment over what books you choose for events like this, especially if parents are not involved in it, right? So she emails, so I had her email the main librarian and kind of tell the story and be like, okay, what's going on? I'm just a little bit upset because, our trust was broken. We dropped off our girls thinking they were going to have a girls' princess tea party, and they have this controversial book that is very, has some concepts that we don't want our 5 and 6-year-olds asking us about. And so in the process of this, I told her, I'm on the library board. I have a library board meeting coming up Tuesday, so I can bring it up as well. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, you're on the library, you're on the library board. That's awesome." So she found a community that she didn't know she had. So anyway, we got to the library board meeting on Tuesday, and I come in and there are 6 parents there, including a grandparent. And again, keep in mind, these library board meetings never have public attendance. It's always just the board members and the librarian. And sitting behind the parents was the children's librarian, and then sitting on the other side of the room was a library assistant who had walked in with a big giant rainbow on his shirt. I'm like, oh, this is going to be an interesting meeting. So we get to the public comment section, and the main librarian said, okay, it's open, open floor. You guys have something to say. I got an email about this. She said, first off, I apologize that this happened. We will take better care to inform the parents, and we'll keep a book list of, the books that we're having at these events. And so then she gave the floor to the parents, and they did such an amazing job. They were very respectful. They were very kind, but they were also like, very firm about what they were dealing with. They said, our job as parents is to protect our children and to introduce the world to them in a safe way, so that as they grow, they can learn about it. But that's our job. It's our job to introduce them to concepts like this, not the job of the library to bring in controversial topics that most of these kids have never even heard of and don't know what it's about. And, so this was the main thing. And they just said, we're very concerned about this. Our trust was broken. You guys had not only this book there, but you had it was a kids only. And at all of the other reading things with parents involved, you've never introduced a book like this. So why now? Why, when you made it a kids only event, did you introduce this book? So again, the main librarian apologized, but I was watching the children's librarian, and her face was getting redder and redder and redder. And it wasn't out of embarrassment. She was angry. She was angry. Buddy, can you close the door, please? It's loud. Thank you. So all the parents stopped talking, and they'd said their piece, and the children's librarian speaks up, and she did not apologize. In fact, not only did she not apologize, she doubled down and basically said, kids between age 5 and 10 are at that age where, they're going to school. And so they don't need parents hovering over them all the time. And I thought this would be a great event to allow them some freedom to play in a way that they wouldn't play if their parents were around. And then she went on to explain that book is not controversial. It's just about love, unconditional love, and affirmation in a boy who likes to play dress up. So you look at the book. It's a pink cover with a faceless kid who's you can tell it's a more masculine child, but there's no like actual facial like features, so no eyes or ears or nose or mouth. So it's actually kind of a disturbing book because all of the faces are completely blank. So it's really weird. But the story is basically this author writing about her son and his desire to be a princess boy. So it's listed on the LGBTQ plus genre. So yeah, not controversial at all, right?
I didn't know we was gonna go this route, but
I didn't know either. But I made a comment, and you're like, okay, we got to hear the story. So I
no,
said it.
Because
we're talking about local governance, right?
We're talking about local governments, but let me say this. This is why local government is so important.
It is. Why citizen involvement is so important.
Yes.
Because it's not just the local governments. We need to hear from the citizens that we're doing the right things or that we're doing the wrong things. We're going in the right direction or the wrong direction. We can't just have them sitting on the sidelines. This is the first library board meeting I've been at since I started, 2-3 years ago. It's the first one we've had actual citizens stop in.
Right.
And it didn't change the mind of the children's librarian. She was adamantly opposed to what they had to say. She was angry that they even said it. But it made a statement to the rest of the library board. We are watching you, and you've broken our trust.
Well, I mean, when you look at, and this is why local government is very important when it comes to our children.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you have people that are, okay, so you're going to make me go there, so I'm going to go there.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to make one more comment while you're going there.
Okay, go ahead.
So one of the library board members that I know is a very liberal, left-leaning person. She's a sweetheart, but she definitely has very, very firm views on the left, and she was upset about it. She was reading through this book that was offered at this event, and she was angry about it. She came to me afterwards and she said, I cannot believe she did this. This was inappropriate and uncalled for. That is your job as the parent to make those decisions, whether those kids at that age should be learning this stuff. And the fact that she brought this up in a kids only event, it's very disturbing to me. So a liberal left-leaning woman
Right.
is trying to protect children. I mean, that's saying something.
Listen to this. You ready?
Mhm.
Wait. Oh, wait. I got the volume down, so I got to turn the volume up.
Yep.
All right. Let's try it again. Ready?
Mhm.
All right. Oh, shoot, David. It'll work if you turn on the speakers. Did you hear what they were saying?
No, what were they saying?
Okay, I'm gonna play it again.
It
Listen.
sounded like a lot of noise. We're here, we're something.
Wait.
Yes, I've heard that one before. Mhm. Yeah. Don't tell me as a parent that there's not an agenda there. That was completely intentional. In fact, the librarian even said, I knew this was coming, but I felt strongly about adding this book to the regimen, and I don't make apologies for it. She was very adamant that she had planned it, and at a children's only event. Now, tell me something. She's not reading her audience because, like I said, most of these parents are conservatives. They're MOPS moms. They're homeschooling parents.
She is reading her audience.
And she's trying to corrupt them.
And this is why they say, anybody that loved the children, okay, it doesn't matter if you're left wing or right wing or nothing. If you care about the children, you're going to do everything in your power to protect children.
Yeah.
There's a group called Gays Against Groomers.
Yeah.
And I went on their website and they said their community has been infiltrated to attack children.
Yeah.
And they are against what they're doing to indoctrinate the children.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about how they doing it, like at the library, no parents. The moment they would have told me no parent, my daughter wouldn't have went in.
Yeah, and the fact that I didn't know that, I will be watching every single event that I take my kids to at the library, and if it says kids only, it's not happening. And I'm hoping that happens. I'm hoping that the parents who were taking these kids to these events are now saying we're not doing that again. And because guess what? Her patrons are the ones who are paying her check.
Right.
If they don't show up for her events, she doesn't get money to fund her children's events. She doesn't get money to, a lot of it is taxpayer paid, but a lot of it comes out in grants. These events and activities at the library, those come from grants. And if she doesn't have patrons showing up at these things, she has to prove that she has events that people want to come to in order to get money.
Right. And so when we can go dealing with local, okay? Because I think that a lot of people doesn't realize, or do they understand the power of a local community, right?
Oh my gosh, we have so much power and we are just not using it.
Right. And so when we start to talk about power, because they don't see it, because nobody really talk about it or even demonstrate it, that they allow them to do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
And so when we look at it, right, you're messing with the children. See, you done got me mad now because I probably would have.
I can make you even more mad.
I would probably got a disorderly conduct. I probably would have got arrested. You want my children at a library, and you don't want me there with my child. So you
Yeah.
want me to leave my children with minor attractive person? You want my child to have a book read to them by a transgender that's
Yeah.
trying to.
Or a mom of a transgender, right? Like, yeah, it's just crazy. And so here's on the on another side of this, right? So on that same day, I'm at caucus, right? And we have right before caucus, we had read some of the bills that they had recently passed. One of the bills they passed in Wisconsin that was voted for by almost every single Republican in our state assembly and representatives, and none of the Democrats, was the 14-week abortion ban.
Well, that's another one we can deal with in a second, but parents.
But here's what we did. We confronted these people, the representatives who showed up for our caucus to talk about all of the good things they're doing. We said, there's a massive elephant in the room, and this is it. You guys have Roe v. Wade on your side. You have an 1849 law in place in Wisconsin that says abortion is illegal. Why are you voting for a 14-week abortion ban that not even the Democrats will touch? And you know that no matter what you vote on, Evers is going to veto it. So why don't you make a statement and say you stand for life at every single age instead of this crap about 14-week abortion bans or heartbeat bills? Stop it.
Listen, I say to people all the time, one of the things that I say to people all the time is this. If we would do an exodus, right, out of both parties, and govern the way we was designed to govern as we the people, we would have a better community. We would have a better city. We would have a better state and a better nation. But
Yep.
what we're doing is we're playing a game that we shouldn't even be playing. You got people on both sides, on both sides of the aisle that has an agenda because they got paid to push a certain agenda. And
Yep.
those agenda are not the people's agenda. And so when you look at the indoctrination of our children, right? When you look at and I have to look at it on this. I was talking to a pastor in a restaurant, and we was talking politics, and I just wanted to talk about what they was doing, locally. I didn't want to go party. I wanted to go locally.
Yeah.
And so it ended up not want to go locally because in our head we are programmed to go party.
Oh yeah, totally.
And so we having this conversation, and I wanted to keep it in the middle. But since he took me to the party side,
Yeah.
and he was letting me know he was part of the Democrats, I said to him, "You're a man of God. You believe in God?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Did you know in 2012 the Democrat Party moved God out of their platform?"
Yep.
I said, "So how you can be for and against God at the same time?" This is why it's so important we in the middle and we making sure everybody is taken care of. Because right now it's not about the average person life. Right now is whose agenda can be that one, right? Who can lie on it?
Who has the most appealing agenda, basically? Like
Right.
who can attract the most people to their agenda?
And who can scandal more people and put them down than anybody? And the thing about it is, I'm reading a book. Oh, you got to get this book. It is amazing. I get this first time to say I got a book you need to read. So the title of the book is called "The Burden of Freedom."
Burden of Freedom.
By Dr. Miles Monroe. And one of the things that he said that is floating around in the world today is a spirit called irresponsibility.
Mm,
Nobody wants to take responsibility. Everybody want to blame somebody else
yeah.
on why, right? So you got the Democrats saying it's the Republicans, you got the Republicans saying it's the Democrats. And so when you look at a local level where it's supposed to be nonpartisan
Mm-hmm.
and it's supposed to be selecting the right individual, right? The right person that is going to benefit everybody. And what we're finding out, most people don't even know they're indoctrinating our children.
Yeah.
Most people don't know that a pedophile new name is MAP.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't know that they can control their local schools as well as they're the boss to their aldermen, to their mayors, to their county executive.
Yeah.
We just doesn't understand the power that we have. And you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of when they was training elephants and they would put the elephant on a tree when it was young and it couldn't pull up that tree.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so in his mind, he realized I can't pull up this tree. And then when he became full grown, they chained him to the same tree.
Yes. Yes, I do remember that. Mm-hmm.
And so now you in his mind, I ain't even gonna try it. But didn't realize if I just take one step, that tree is uprooted.
Yeah.
And so they done programmed us so much to focus on president and to focus on governor's race that we bypass our local races that affects our children more than anything.
I know, exactly.
And so
and what we don't understand is that that's the exact way that we're losing our country, because we're not dealing on the local level. So we're not raising up people on the local level who can move on up to leadership on the higher levels and move up in an unimpeachable way, as opposed to, here, let's just throw you into the Republican Party at the very top, and then you're compromised as soon as you walk through that Capitol door, right?
Right.
And so we're not putting people in place on the local level in order to really build up that virtue from the ground up, from the family up.
Right.
Our churches are dead. Our families are dead. All of the spiritual nature of America right now is death. And we're not doing anything to change that on the local level. I mean, and I'm obviously generalizing. There are definitely people out there who are working on those local levels, but we need a movement. We need people in every state of our country doing this. We need them in the school boards. We need them in the county boards and on the city boards and stuff. We've got a chance in our county of possibly turning this around and becoming a conservative county all around for all of our boards, if we work our butts off to get the right people in who are following God, and not just in name only, right?
Right.
They're following God, and they are using their God-given image-bearing power and purpose to enact good in the community. That doesn't mean that we're going to get everything right. It doesn't mean that we're going to just go to this idealist utopia that says, oh, this is how it's going to be, right? We're trying to move the ball in the other direction, because or here's another good example. Instead of these extreme pendulum swings, right?
Right.
Let's stick with a plumb line. Let's go with our basic foundational principles, right here. And then let's course correct instead of swinging wildly and changing the culture every few years. Why don't we course correct and make small changes that are going to have a massive and effective impact? Right now, I feel like any Christian activity is on the defensive, because we're fighting back against the 100 years or so that we've given up.
But I even me running for mayor, every morning I pray that God would do me like Solomon and give me the wisdom to govern his people.
Exactly.
So that way, when I make decisions, it's the better for every Milwaukeean. You
Yeah,
understand
it's
what
for
I'm
the
saying?
general welfare, not for individual people groups and, special interests. It's for what is good for our county, our city, our whatever it is.
See, I
What
could
is
sit. I could sit back now because see, I was heated, but I'm calming down. And you're right. And so when the people of God is in office, right? When I deal with business, right?
Mhm.
I say to people, whatever I do, I got to do it unto God. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm gonna go to City Hall waving a Bible, and no, the principles of God is already in me,
Yeah,
right? The
exactly.
the laws of God is already in me. The covenant of God is in me. The
Mhm.
statutes of God is in me. So I
Yeah.
just operate on how God wants us to operate.
You
Now,
operate on victory principles, right? Because
right,
those are the foundational things that make this world work the best it can. And so they're common sense things. You don't even need to bring the Bible in, although we should, as Christians, we should bring our biblical principles in, but you don't even need to bring that aspect in order to do the biblical principles, because it's just common sense,
right,
right?
and it should be already built on the inside of you. So
Exactly.
so I got a testimony for you. You ready
Mhm.
for this?
Sure.
Okay.
Hit me.
We was up in Warsaw this weekend and we
Mhm.
had a basketball tournament and we was playing and we was winning. By the way, we brought the championship home.
Yeah. Woohoo!
Um, but we was playing and we was winning. I called timeout. I said, okay, we scored 100 points. I don't want you to score no more. I said, what I want you to do is I want you to win gracefully.
Mhm.
I want you to give God's glory. And the kids was like, the young men were like, but wait, nobody
Yeah.
gave us no mercy. I said, God doesn't judge us how other people treat us. It's
Right,
how we
exactly.
treat others.
Yep.
Right? I said,
That's
so we're
that's
gonna
the mantra I use a million times a day with my kids
yeah.
and
So
myself.
and so they did what I asked and we won gracefully. And then the
Mhm.
parents was like, we thank you how y'all won because other people blew them out, but they was not nice about it. They
Yeah.
Saturday came, same thing, gracefully. We scored 100, so we won gracefully.
Yeah.
And then the championship game, we was winning already, and it was like 4 minutes and something. We was way above,
Mhm.
and the coach called timeout, and he called me over. He said, "Listen, don't don't show us no mercy." He
Yeah.
says, "Because if you do, my kids is going to stop. I want them to come, fight through adversity." Da da
Yeah.
da. I said, "Okay." So I
Yeah.
went back into our huddle, and I said to the kids, I said, "Give me my 100 points."
Okay.
They said, "For real?" I said, "Yes, give me my 100." So they went out there, they scored 100. After the game, some of the guys came up to me and they shook my hand and they said,
Mhm.
"We're praying for you in your race for mayor in the city of Milwaukee."
Mm.
And it said, "We really appreciate, you. If you want, you
Yeah.
could come up here to Warsaw and run for mayor." I'm like, "No, I'm gonna stay in Milwaukee and do this." And and so we got ready. They prayed over me. We got ready to
Mhm.
leave. A guy pulled his truck up, and uh, and he said to me, "Can I make a donation to your campaign?" And I
Wow.
said, "Sure." And he wrote a check.
Oh my gosh.
Look in the private chat.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. And when he wrote that, and I looked at him like, and I said the number, right? He
Yeah.
said, yes. And all the young men in the van said, when you win gracefully, God blesses you. They
Yeah.
they got it just like that by seeing it, right?
Yeah.
And so when they saw that, right, and they was like, how much? And so 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 then
Wow.
so they talked about it all the way home. They talked about it all weekend. When I got to the
Mhm.
school today, because I had to carry the trophy into the school, they talked about it again. They was like, wow,
Wow.
I'm still tripping off of this weekend. And so I'm telling them when we do things according to the word of God
Mhm.
and we go to really represent God, everybody said is it's a battle between good versus evil, right?
Mhm.
The kingdom of God versus the kingdom of darkness, right?
Yep. Yep.
But if your leader is spiritually dead, he has nothing to trickle down. If he
Yep.
has if he has nothing, he cannot operate with the wisdom of God if he doesn't have it.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't have a connection to God where God can download strategy on
Mhm.
how to do something, then you're not going to get anything fixed.
Yeah.
So when you say that, right, the church, well, I think the church is afraid. The church is afraid, say, well, they might find something in my past.
Yeah.
Everybody got something in their past. It's called a testimony.
Yeah. And
This
you know
is
what?
how
Here's the thing. That you wouldn't be afraid of your past if you confronted it head on and said, "Hey, I'm not perfect. This is I'm a hypocrite like everybody else. I'm a sinner and I've been saved by grace. That doesn't make my past any cleaner or brighter than than it was, right? But God is the one who covers that. God is the one who covers my past. And
But let me help you with that one because this it was beautiful. This is
Mhm.
beautiful. We was in service and it came to in my spirit and I
Mhm.
said it to the church. I said, I'm sold out for Christ.
Mhm.
Not a sellout, but I'm sold out.
Mhm.
I said, now let me show you the difference between a sellout and and sold out. When you go to the store and your favorite brand of detergent is not on the shelf and you go to the person and says, I need Tide. And they say, I'm sorry, we sold out.
Mhm.
Right? That means
Mhm.
ain't nothing else there, right? So that means I tell people when you come to this shelf, David is sold out. So all you're gonna get is Christ.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm sold out of me. No, there's no more me.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Right? There's no more me.
Yeah.
So me being sold out means you're not gonna get David. You're
Yeah.
only gonna get God in David. So
Mhm.
and if you get the guy in David, you never have to worry about David selling out.
Yeah.
Because why? I can't sell out because if I sell out, I lose out
Right.
because I lose out God.
Yep.
And so when you understand you need to be sold out, there should be no more Sarah. There should be no more
Yeah.
David. There should be no more anybody if they're claiming to be with God.
Yeah.
That means they sold out. So if you try to make me upset, that's okay because I'm sold out.
Yeah.
You won't find no more me.
Yeah.
But if you try to buy me, I'm sorry, I can't sell out
Yeah.
because I'm already sold out.
Right.
And so as a body of believers, there are 7 mountains that the body of believers have to deal with in local government. They
Mhm.
have to deal with it or is nothing going to change,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Family is one, right? Religion is another one,
Mhm.
right? Business is another one.
Yep.
Arts and entertainment is another one.
Mhm.
Media is another one.
Mhm.
Education and government.
Yep.
So if we're not involved, really, really sold out and involved in these things,
Yeah.
ain't nothing going to change.
Exactly.
That's why they can put those books there.
Yep.
Why? Because somebody are not in their spot in education.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. If the conservatives, if the Christians in America had the moral high ground right now, if we were actually a virtuous nation, then something like that, one, it wouldn't have happened, right? Because those books wouldn't even be in the library. We wouldn't be even. It would be just absolute madness to even consider it. And two, we would be able to confront it and say, nope, we're taking these books out. If you try to put these books in, we're taking them out. Right now, we don't have that moral high ground because we've given it up, right? And so we have to come at it from a different sort of offensive, right? Where we're saying, okay, we're not going to tackle it by being the big, bad, mean wolves going into the library and saying, we're going to ban all your books. Because guess what? They're going to ban the Bible. They're going to ban whatever, they're going to ban the Christian section. As small as it is, it's still there, right?
Right.
They're going to ban the things that we find valuable because they're going to fight back dirty. And this is what's bothering me so badly about I shouldn't say the conservative movement, but the Republican Party, is that we're fighting back just as dirty as the Democrats are fighting. And we're doing it underhandedly. We're doing it deceitfully. We're not gaining any ground. We're just stooping to their level. And so it's driving me nuts, because if we were the church the way we were supposed to be the church, we would be meeting people in the streets. We would be the ones dealing with the homelessness problems. We would be the ones out there passing out food and not leaving that for the library to take care of, right? We would be the ones who would be concerned about a family that is their kids are showing up beaten and bruised because the church, that was their jurisdiction to excommunicate those people in the church who are harming children, right? That would be our job.
But the church gave up education because
everything.
The church was the first school. They gave up education. Then they gave up social service.
Dr. King, we gave up the church. We gave up the body of Christ.
Oh,
you know what we're left with? You know what we're left with? We're left with electricity bills and debt on the church property. That's what we've got.
But here's the beauty of it, because there is some beauty and there is some light.
Oh, of course there is. There's always light, because guess what? God won.
Right. But there is a remnant.
Yeah.
There's a remnant in every county in the state of Wisconsin. Every county.
Okay. Are you sure there's a remnant in the counties of California? No, I'm just kidding.
There's a remnant in California.
Somehow there's a remnant.
There is a remnant.
In the midst of all the feces and drug needles, there's a remnant.
There is a remnant. God has God has a remnant everywhere. The problem is people looking for somebody else instead of looking in the mirror.
Yep.
To know that God could have let them been born any other time.
But we're here for such a time as this, right?
Yes, we're here for just as time as this. And we have to look at it as says, okay, wait a minute. When I go before God, am I going to have to give an answer for my mismanagement?
Yeah.
Because he told me, he gave me a manager job. My job was to manage. So am I mismanaging what he gave me?
Yeah.
Am I
right? Are we misstewarding? Is that a word?
Stewardship. Yep. Misstewarding. Yeah. So when we look at it, right? So we have to say, you know what? Let's take a look. And I want to start with Milwaukee, okay? Because since we're talking, and I'm soon to be the next mayor.
Of course.
So let's look at Milwaukee. If everybody in Milwaukee that say they love God, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. If everybody in Milwaukee say they love God, then guess what? Milwaukee wouldn't have all the stuff that it has. Mm-hmm. But what we have done is we have as a church, we're afraid to fight. We're afraid to stand up. We're afraid to allow to go into battle. Or let me put it that way, because this is a battle. This is war, right? And the Bible says the kingdom suffer violence, and the violence taken by force. So we're supposed to take territory for the king. And so,
and not only are we afraid to go into battle, we weren't equipped with the right armor. You know, that the passage in scriptures that talks about the armor of God. How many churches can say that they are discipling and equipping their disciples with the armor of God? Right?
Well,
because that armor of God, it conquers nations.
Right. But here's the thing though. When we look at everything that we address, right? So everything that we have to address, everything that we have to do. Wait a minute. Somebody is saying something. What'd she say?
We've sold out to the woke philosophy.
Oh, yes. Our church is, Steve German, my buddy. Okay. So let's look at this for a second. Mm-hmm. If the church understood the dual power that they have by the number of people and by the authority that was invested in them by God, right? And so it's never too hard. We just allow them to share things with us to make it hopeless. And so what we have to do, and we have, like you said, we have to start local. You can't build unless you got a foundation, right? So your local elections is where the foundation has to be built. Your local foundation, your local government is that foundation to build on. You can't build from the White House down.
Oh yeah, no. Or like the Republican Party in Wisconsin is doing, they're trying to train grassroots organizations from the top down. You know what they're calling them? Farms.
Oh my God.
You know who else called things training like this, grassroots training like this, farms? Saul Alinsky in Rules for Radicals. Like the communists use these terms. We're using the communist terms in order to supposedly forward a conservative movement. It's not going to work because we don't, like you said, we don't do things from the ground or from the top down. We can't. That's not how government works.
No, government works. You have to build the foundation. And that's just like in marriage. I tell people in marriage, man, you got to be the foundation. And as a man, you the foundation. You give the vision to your wife and let her build on that foundation. But if your foundation is cracked, if your foundation is unstable, whatever you build is going to crumble. And so, and another thing that people, both sides does it, is if you don't sound like them, then you're not one of them. You know, and I remember one time I was talking to I forgot who it was. I think it was J-Rod, and we was talking, and they used the word rhino, right?
Okay.
And then I said, "Hey, J-Rod, I'm a rhino."
Yeah, I think we talked about that.
And he said, "You're a rhino?" I said, "Yeah, what do rhino stand for?" He said, "Republican by name only." I said, "Yeah, I just ran on a ticket. I didn't sound like them."
No.
I said, I didn't sound like them. I didn't act like them. And so I'm a rhino. And if I ran on a Democrat ticket, I'd be a dino. Because, because I don't sound like them. So what's the best thing for me? Come in the middle. Because I don't sound. And when you don't sound and you understand who you are in God, you should get convicted if you are spitting hatred on one side versus another side. Because one of the things that God said in 1 Corinthians 6 that if you're a slanderer, you won't see the kingdom of God. You can't be a slanderer, right?
Yep.
You can't be an extortioner. You can't. All this stuff is telling us we can't be. If you choose a side, that's what you become.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm sitting there like, Dad, God, what are you really telling us? Read. Then I read, thou shalt not steer to the left nor the right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then I'm supposed to be planted where? In the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we can pull up, now I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Libertarian,
Anarchist.
anarchist, Green Party. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
You all want your children to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
You want a safer city.
Yep.
You want a business that can thrive, right?
You want to build a legacy. You want
to build a legacy. You want to have a great education system for your children.
Yeah.
Okay. Then come to the middle and get it done. Yeah. I never understand why people think everything is so hard. Crime is hard. No, it's not. What's the root to crime?
Yep.
Social issues are the root to crimes.
Yep.
Fatherless home, drugs, abuse, incest, all of these things, right?
Yeah.
Is the root to crime, because now you got a bunch of bitter people.
Yeah.
And
it starts in the breakdown of the family.
It starts at the breakdown of the family.
Yep.
None of these little boys would ever talk crazy to their parents if the daddy was in the house.
Yeah. None of these boys and girls would be saying, I want to be I don't feel like a boy, or I don't feel like a girl. I feel like a they, them, or whatever. They wouldn't be saying that if the parents were saying, guess what? You were made in God's image and you're beautiful. You've been fearfully and wonderfully made, and you are exactly the way God planned you to be, and he's got a great purpose for you just the way you are. Exactly. And he's also going to keep growing you and developing you if you give him the access to your life and allow him to be the transforming work in your life. That's what kids need to be hearing.
And not only that, I was talking to a guy because it bothers me when we played a game, right? So he was like, being gay is a feeling. I'm like, no, it ain't. He said, yes, it is. I said, it can't be. He was like, yes, it is. I said, okay, I'll tell you what. Can a virgin be a nymphomaniac?
Yeah, you brought this one up before.
And he says, what? I said, can a virgin be a nymphomaniac? He said, no, a virgin can't be. I said, what does she feel like she's a nympho?
Yeah.
He was like, that don't make sense. I said, why don't? He said, because a virgin never has sex, so they can't be a nympho. I said, our kids ain't never had sex. How they gay?
Yeah.
They ain't never had sex.
They don't know what sex means. They don't know what sexuality means. They're just hearing people spout this nonsense, and they're going along with it and saying, oh, yep, this must be what I am. Because guess what? Peer pressure's strong, and the teachers are woke.
Right. And then I said to him,
not every teacher. I will say there are good teachers out there. There are good kids out there.
Yes.
But yeah.
I said this to him. I said, when you was growing up, you felt girls had the cooties. You didn't want to touch them. You didn't want to talk to them. So your feelings was they got the cooties. Then when you got a little older, you started writing letters. I like you. Do you like me? Check the box.
Yeah.
Right? And then like, yeah. I said, then when you got a little older, you used to write Johnny and Mary forever. That didn't last long, but you wrote it.
You did. Yeah.
Right? Because your feelings change all the time. Yeah. So you cannot go and operate and tell our kids because of a feeling, that means you that way. Yeah. Because if that's the case, and the woke agenda really wanted to be that way, then tomorrow morning I am going to walk into Wells Fargo and says, I feel like I'm Bill Gates' son and I want to withdraw $1 million.
Yeah. Does Bill Gates bank at Wells Fargo?
let's see how far that go, right?
Yeah. Or it's like the people in the insane asylum who say that I'm God, right? Like, or I'm Napoleon. No, you're not.
Right.
You're living in a reality that doesn't exist. Sorry.
And so when we start to look at this stuff, right, from the local government, we can intercept all of this mess.
Yeah.
You know, we can really fight for our children. We can really fight for families. You know, it's sad in Milwaukee where a couple have to go downtown and get a legal separation paper before they can get help.
Yeah.
That should never happen. And you a taxpayer. That should never happen where you got to lie just to get some help.
Yeah.
It should never happen. A lot of small businesses went out of business during COVID. And then our mayor raised our sales tax up from 5.5. Now we at 7.9. Then they went behind closed doors and gave themselves a 15% raise.
Wow.
So you're really telling us you for us. You're damaging business by raising sales tax to 7.9. You hide behind closed doors and gave yourself a raise. And now he's endorsing the school board to tell people to vote yes on a $252 million referendum.
Yeah.
That is going to raise property tax up again.
Yeah. And you know, most people won't even look at that. They'll just vote yes.
And so when they was calling candidates, they called me up and they said, we want you to endorse this $252 million referendum. And I said to them, so what the money's allocated for? They said, administrative. I said, oh, so it's not going into the classroom.
Yeah.
I said, you want me to endorse this? Email me a breakdown of where the money's going. Then we might can have a conversation.
Yeah.
But why would we give you guys more money when you are failing our children?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. We need more money to what? Waste? We need more money to what? To use more tactic to indoctrinate our babies?
Yeah.
I mean, what do you need it for? And so when you know, those are the things. Well, in local government, we got to stop and ask, why? What do you need it for? What have you done with what you already had?
Yeah. What are you doing with the money you've already been given? Where did it go? What if, you know, like there's no accountability for where these funds have gone and what they're actually doing. I mean, you know, we're on the county board committees, you know, we're able to see the budget stuff and the line items and everything. But I mean, it's just, there's just so much of it that you would have to pour through it for days and days to figure out what everything is for, what these slush funds are, you know, like it's ridiculous. And you can't, there's no accountability. There's none.
Right. And so when you look at it, every taxpayer in Milwaukee should have some kind of question. Even if you don't understand it, you still should have a question and say, okay, what was it? The Department of Public Works, they received a budget of $329 million, right?
Yep.
What are y'all doing with that money?
Exactly.
Why we got all these potholes? You know, you if you drive down some streets at night, it's best you don't even go through the block unless you want to get an alignment and new tires because the potholes is that bad. Yeah. And so what is going on? What are you doing? And so when you never ask questions, you know how, let me see, how should I say this? If I came to you to this month in February and said, Sarah, I need to buy about $300 to pay my rent. You probably don't pay attention to it the first time. You'd be like, okay, here's the $300. March come. Sarah, I need to borrow $300. I need to pay my rent.
Mm-hmm.
Now you be like, okay, something ain't right. But here, I'll help you. Then because I'm paying you back, right? By the third month, you're gonna be like, excuse me, Dr. King, what are
Yeah.
you doing with your money?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, maybe you don't know how to budget. Let's break it down. What are you doing? Oh, when
Right.
you get paid, you go and you buy new tennis shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Pay
And
your rent.
not the cheap ones. You buy the big expensive ones, right?
Right. Pay your rent first. And
Mhm.
then, because one of the things I taught my son, I say, listen, we pay first, then we play.
Mm-hmm.
We got to make sure the bills is paid, then we can play.
Yeah.
But if the bills is not paid, we can't play. And so, so when you look at local government, are you playing without paying?
Yeah.
Because you got a lot of money here and ain't nothing getting done.
Yep.
And so, but we don't ask those kind of questions. We just go along because they trained us to say we're gonna raise taxes. Okay, raise taxes. They really need it. What do they need it for? We never asked that question.
Yep.
What do you need it for?
Yep.
Or we just go along when they say somebody taking our money. The kids are not coming to MPS. Okay. Stop for a minute. Why aren't they coming? Let me go on the National Assessment of Education Progress. Oh, I see why. You guys got failing grades. No wonder they're not coming.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
those are a lot of things that we have to really get in people's heart and get in their mind that you have to question. We can't just keep saying yes to stuff that we're not paying attention to.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it's definitely not served us very well, has it?
And so when we look at I think that because like in Milwaukee right now, there's a lot of stuff that people are dealing with that now that you done had the baby, we can go back to teaching. It's the Constitution. It's the Constitution because
Yeah, we need to start that up again because we really need to go through and finish it. We need to finish it out, but maybe start over. And
we're going to have to start over because the ones that they're being violated is the ones that's now. I'm dealing with, there's things that's going on that the DAs and stuff are allowing. And I was with a family and just the DA just violated their constitutional right.
Yeah.
And told them, this is what I'm thinking of, not thinking. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a plea deal. The family didn't want a plea deal, so he just violated their rights. That he cannot just offer. See, people need to know their rights. He can't just offer a plea deal.
That's not his job. His job is to suggest, help guide, but ultimately it's the victims. It's the victim's right to stand before and stand before the person who's victimized them and actually stand up for themselves and get restitution.
Yes. And he told them, I'm just letting y'all know, but this is what I'm going to do. So I told the family, he already made the plea deal. He's just not going to announce it until he get through talking to y'all. Yeah. It's a done deal already. Yep. And so when you understand your rights, you'll be like, your job is to go in and make sure, there he goes. Look at that. I think we need to go back and finish teaching the Constitution and so people understand their rights because there's so many of them being violated right now. I just got to call another family.
And changed without amendment. That's one of the other things, right? They're changing the Constitution without amending it. Like the The courts are sitting there trying to fight to get rid of this 1849 law. That's not the court's job.
Right.
They can't look at the Constitution as it was originally written and say, "Oh, that's unconstitutional." No, you go back and you get the people to amend it if they feel like it's unconstitutional.
Right. And and you know, a lot of people need to know, and just like in the book, I say it all the time now, knowledge will always govern ignorance.
Yep.
It will always. And so if they don't know, if they don't understand, if they don't realize that they have an opportunity to make things better for themselves, that their voice are being heard.
Yep.
A lot of people don't even realize that they are the elected official's boss.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
And so when you give somebody when you elect somebody and they just run around and do whatever they feel like they can do with no consequences, that's a problem all by itself.
Yep.
And so, I mean, we got a lot of work. I'm so glad that you done had the baby, because we got a lot of teaching.
We have lots of work to do.
We got a lot of work to do. We got to let the people know that what we do it to educate them. It's not about us at all. It's about empowering them. It's about educating them. It's about letting them know their rights so they can protect their own families, you know.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
And so we got a fight on our hands when it comes to our babies, because they're messing with their sexuality, they're messing with their gender, and now there's a movement to legalize pedophiles through MAP, minor attracted person.
Yep, exactly.
Because because you got to remember, they moving everything about a feeling. So a pedophile is saying, you cannot tell me who I can fall in love with.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, okay. We can't.
Yeah, yes, we can actually.
Oh yeah, we can.
You better believe we can. Have you seen The Sound of Freedom yet?
Not yet.
Oh,
my wife saw it. I didn't see it yet.
Oh my gosh, it was so raw. And here I'm holding my new baby in my arms and watching this and crying. But this is what we are up against. It's not just the people in the library who are, shoving one of the controversial books into the stack, hoping one of the kids picks it up. It's people out there who are literally actively working against and going against our children, who are trying to drag them into the deepest pits of hell. Like, these are people who are creating hell on earth, and you don't get to do that with my kids. You do not mess with me.
Yes. And then when you look at it, that's where the child sex trafficking comes involved. Young people are becoming up missing now like never before.
Consider this. America, the country that fought a civil war, killed one another's brothers and fathers and sons over this issue to get rid of slavery. We are now one of the highest in the world for slavery and sex trafficking.
Yes.
Think about that. Like,
but
and we're not up in arms about this,
right? And the thing about it is, it's happening right under our nose. It's happening starting in the schools, getting them confused, then getting them on the website, and getting them on different platforms to make them think, oh, you got a friend over here. We care about you. And I know they don't understand you, but I understand you. And that's why you got these kids, these small kids trying to get on Greyhound buses and trains and planes to go somewhere. And you sitting there like, or meeting up at a place, and they come and pick them up. And then they realize that the person that picked them up wasn't the person they thought they was talking to.
Exactly. And why is this happening? Because we have stopped, as a society, we have stopped teaching our kids that we have meaning and purpose and worth.
Yes.
Because we are we are children of God.
Yes.
We've stopped teaching that. We've stopped demonstrating that, showing what that looks like to be a child of God, showing what that looks like to be active in our communities, to watch, to keep an eye out for one another's children, to be a community, to be a village, right? Like we've
Yes.
lost that. We've given that up. And it's just like, I've been so blessed though, because like you said, there is a remnant. I have an amazing, hilarious neighbor. He's an ex-cop. He's, you know, a little bit on the interesting side for humor. But he watches out for my kids. When he sees them out walking the dog, he makes sure that they know that he's watching them and keeping an eye out, and and it's just to let them know you're safe here, right? Like we're
Right.
your parents aren't the only ones keeping an eye out for you, because guess what? We have a bunch of sex offenders that were released by Governor Evers, thank you very much, who are in our neighborhood now. Most of them aren't even from our state, and they're living just down the street from us. And apparently we can do nothing because, oh, these people need houses too. Really?
Well,
When you violate children, when you violate the least of these, you lose your rights.
that mama bear coming out. But you know, I think that you know, we not I told some parents, I said, listen, don't ask your kids if they did their homework tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Ask them what did they talk about in school.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you want to find.
They're not going to remember the next day or the next month or the next year, but they'll remember what they talked about in school.
Right. So ask what kind of conversations
Mm-hmm.
was going on in the school. Ask them about did anybody ask you a question that made you uncomfortable today? You know, those are the questions that we gotta. It's sad, but we have to ask them now
Yeah.
to keep our children safe.
Yeah.
There was a mother who took her child to the doctor, and the doctor asked the child did they want the mother in there, and the child said no, so the mama had to go out in the waiting room.
And if I had been that mother, I would have said, then we're walking out of here because you're not touching my child without me being there.
But here's the question they asked her daughter: are you comfortable being a girl? Are anybody forcing you to be a girl?
What is a freaking doctor doing? Somebody who took biology and knows the basic elements of life. What is a doctor doing asking that question?
Exactly.
They should lose their license over that. They should not be practicing medicine, because that is not medicine. That is politics. That is woke crap, and you don't do that in my doctor's office. We don't see doctors very often because we don't need to. We're a healthy family. We eat well, we exercise well, we do all the right things, so we don't need to go to the doctor for well child visits, right? We only go when we need to, which are for emergencies. And I tell you, if my nurse practitioner ever told me that I couldn't be in there when my daughter was coming in for a checkup, we would be walking out that door. You wouldn't see our faces again.
Did you see that post?
Yes.
Mama bear.
Oh yeah.
But
You don't touch my kids. You do not. And here's the thing. This is the attitude that I'm getting from a lot of people is, but what about God? God is love. What about we need to love others and we need to not be judgmental? I'm like, it said, judge not lest ye be judged. It didn't say don't judge at all. It says you watch out, because the same standard by which you judge others is the standard that you're going to be judged. So if you're not prepared for that, then you better not be judging. But it did not say don't judge at all.
And you know, I tell
God is
people,
a God of justice. Where do we get the word judge from? He's the ultimate judge. Of course we are called to judge.
right. But the thing about it is this, and I tell people all the time, as a grown person, you can be whatever you want. This is America. You can be whatever you want, right? That's
Yeah.
between you and God. You can be whatever you want.
Yeah.
And that's you.
But you don't tell my 6-year-old that you just got married to your same-sex husband and that you're all of the fun things you're doing in bed together. No, that's not
Right.
appropriate.
When you come after the kids, that's when we have the problem.
Yeah.
You know, I try to get people to see this because whatever you do, that's you.
Yeah.
But when you attack these innocents and that can't defend themselves, who really don't understand the difference, what's right, what's wrong. Right now, they don't know what's natural, what's unnatural, and you're going to take something unnatural and tell them it's natural. Now we got a problem. Leave the babies alone.
Yeah.
Because now you want to mess with the babies. Okay, now it's wartime. Now it's time to address something. And I see video after video where a man is hiding in the little girl's bathroom. I saw a father had to walk in the bathroom before his little daughter, and the man was sitting. Oh no.
I hope that father packs a good punch.
Only thing I know is this. If that was my daughter, I would have a prison ministry right now.
Yep.
You're not, no.
Yeah.
You're going to prey on kids?
Yeah, no.
No.
And I'm sorry, the insanity, the absolute insanity of these supposed leaders who are legislating this to protect these perverts and pedophiles and just evil people. What is we are so upside down, it is not even it's not funny. You know, there are times when, like, you've in the past we've heard comedians and they're joking about things and it's like, oh yeah, that's awkward. You know, this is beyond awkward. There is nothing funny about somebody, a man, woman, anybody who preys on children. There is nothing we can laugh about.
But listen to this. Listen to this. In 2018, our current mayor presented a city ordinance on conversion therapy.
Yep.
Right? And here is
don't you love that catch-all phrase for we're teaching our children not that homosexuality and transgender stuff is not of God and that they're made in God's image, and we catch all phrase with conversion therapy. It's this big bad scary monster. We can't do that.
Now, here's what it says. You ready for this?
Yep.
This ordinance prohibits the practice of conversion therapy in the city of Milwaukee, whereas conversion therapy is the practice of trying to change a person's sexual orientation or gender identity, and whereas science recognizes that being lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender is a part of the natural spectrum of human identity and is not a disease, disorder, or illness. And whereas the practice of conversion therapy is basically on scientific, unfound approach, not subject to peer review, and is often conducted in a violent and damaging manner. So if a child is
apparently 6,000 years of human history just went down the toilet.
Right. But so now let me just go down some. But this is what our mayor did. Now, so when you look at you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
So definition. A person means any natural person, individual, corporation, non-corp, association, proprietorship, firm partners, joint venues, joint stock association, or any other any other entity or business or organization. Conversion therapy means any practice or treatment offered or rendered to consumers for a fee. So if you
So
don't,
apparently that whole First Amendment thing about Congress shall make no law concerning the exercise thereof or the establishment thereof of religion.
yes.
That just
So-
got shot down.
Okay, so counseling that seek to change a person. Now watch this. Listen to what it says. Seek to change, right? Seek to change a person's sexual orientation or gender. Identify, including efforts to change behavior or gender expression,
Ooh.
or to eliminate or reduce sexual or romance attraction or feeling towards individual of the same sex.
So basically, what the LGBTQ plus community has been doing since they started. Aren't they conversion therapists? They're the ones who are like actively pushing kids in schools to change their gender, right?
Right,
Like they're the ultimate conversion therapists.
right. It says, let me see. But here, you ready for this?
Sure. Bring it on. I'm just
So this is the scary part.
okay.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Now, so it goes on to say, let's see, let me go back up. Or romantic attraction or feeling towards individuals of the same gender. Conversion therapy does not include counseling that provide assistance to a person ongoing gender transition, or counseling that provide acceptance, support, and understanding of a person or a faculties of a person,
Wow.
coping, social support, and identity exploitation and development. So what they're saying is you can't counsel them to get them to think back normal,
Yeah.
but you can counsel them to become
go
a trans.
to go
transgender.
against nature. To go against nature, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Now, unlawful. It is unlawful for any person to practice conversion therapy with anyone under 18 years of age.
Oh, good. That means that you guys, you LGBTQ plus whatevers can stop messing with our kids.
Yeah, but they not.
No, of course not.
They're not. So.
And tell me how many people who claim to be Christians are going to look at that and turn around and roll over and go, yes, master.
Of course. Now, you sit here, they're telling you what we're doing is we're going to indoctrinate your children in school. They're going to come home confused.
Mm-hmm.
And when they come home confused, if you want to agree with what they're trying to change into, then you can have conversion therapy. But if you're going to try to change it,
Mm-hmm.
try to change their mind, you're not allowed to give them conversion therapy.
Wow. How arrogant.
And this is what the mayor of Milwaukee did when he was an auto person in 2018.
Well, and this is the LGBTQ organization saying you're not in charge of your kids. We are. We're coming for your kids because you aren't in charge of them.
Well, see, let me do this one right here. Stacy, you got to understand. Right now, a pastor can. But in a minute, that's going to be called a hate crime. So you have to understand. See, people say, well, we can do these things on this side, but you shouldn't have to worry about that at all.
Mm-hmm.
If we intercept the indoctrination, then we wouldn't have to have conversion therapy. If
Yeah.
we would show them in the Word of God what the Word of God says about them and why God made her to be a girl, is that He wanted her to carry life.
Yeah.
You know, why God made him a boy? Because He made him to be a head of a household. He got to learn how to be a man. He has to learn how to be a father. He has to learn how to be a husband. He got to learn how to validate his children and install in his children, empower his children, let his children know who they are in the eyes of God. So this is why you guys, I don't understand why we're not getting this. You know, we just let them say anything, and this is what you said earlier. The church have gotten soft, and we have just bowed to everything. And one of the things that I believe we really need to do is ask God for forgiveness for bowing.
Oh yeah, repentance would be the first thing on the list. Wouldn't I mean that's the only thing at this point that is going to save America,
Yes.
save our nation, save our states, save our country, save our cities, is repentance. We've fallen so far, and
I know.
we've literally put ourselves into a position where we're allowing hell on earth.
That's
And
it right there.
we're supposed to be the kingdom bringers. So where's the kingdom?
Right. Oh wow, we almost been on here an hour and a half. So I'm going to let you do your thing and give your final remarks, and I give my final remarks, and then I'm gonna let you go ahead and be mommy.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, so I'm gonna bring up a oft repeated favorite quote, and that's John Adams, who stated that this Constitution is for a moral and virtuous people only, is ineffective for any other. And I know I'm paraphrasing, but the basic idea is that we cannot have a constitutional republic. We cannot have a good nation, a good government, without the morals and virtues and foundational principles of a creator God. And the founding fathers knew that. They knew that giving that up, that bringing taking God out of things, was going to lead to our destruction. And we're seeing that. We're seeing the logical outworkings of a nation that has given up God. And so you don't like that? I know, I don't like it either. I don't like it either. So we're gonna have a fight on our hands, and it's not gonna be easy. It may even be bloody. And I'm praying that we have the moral courage and the moral remnant left to fight these battles, because as a mama bear, there's no way I'm letting my country fall to these depraved and evil people. Right. You tell them. You tell them. And that's what I got to say.
Okay. I'm going to, let me bring myself back on. There I am. I'm going to share my quote that I posted a couple of days ago, and I think is very, very appropriate for today. So while I'm looking it up, I do want to say that we are having a barbershop real talk on February 29th from 6 to 8 a.m. at King Cut Salon, 5020 West Hampton Avenue, 5020 West Hampton Avenue. And the topic is, do we want real change or not? That is the topic of our barbershop real talk on February the 29th. And so we're asking that you come out, you share with us, be a part of everything that God is doing. We have an opportunity to change our city. We have an opportunity to fix our city. We have an opportunity to restore family values, our moral values, and everything. Now, I'm going to give a quote by, I call him one of my mentors, Miles Monroe, and he says this: "The mismanagement of the male factor is the source of our family crisis." And so I am I'm big on restoring the family structure, the family value. I'm urging fathers to be there to validate their children, to let them know that they love them. My prayer is that God will turn the hearts of the father back to the children and the hearts of the children back to the fathers. I'm believing that if we would reset the moral compass, we can go forward and do some things that are pleasing to God. Again, this is a spiritual battle. This is a battle of good versus evil. And this is a battle that we have to protect our little ones, like the one she's holding in up right there. Look at him. And so I just want you guys to know and understand that we will be, our next show, we will be teaching the Constitution again. We're going to start back with the First Amendment again, because I think a lot of people misunderstand what the First Amendment is all about. And if media overstep their boundaries on the First Amendment in your life, you have a right to go after them, because that is something that we want to make sure that we do. And so we will be coming back together to be a blessing to each and every one of you guys. So we thank you guys. And from Mama Bear, the constitutional queen, look at him. We want to say we love you guys, and we thank y'all for tuning in. And we will be back with you guys next week. God
Sounds
bless.
good. We'll see ya.